Went to the store on Thursday, bought a half-gallon jar of pickles. Love me some pickles, eat one as soon as I get home. Tastes good, man, so good I decide I'll have a few more. Walk back to my computer and start to work, but the urge is not sated, not by a long shot. Come back to life-giving pickle jar several more times, eat several pickles each time. After an hour the jar is empty. 400% of my daily sodium never tasted so good. 30 minutes later I hear a churning in my stomach. Not a light rumbling, sounds like the noise an old tub makes when you suddenly pull the drain. Initiate sprint to bathroom mode. Barely get my ass on the toilet as an effing waterfall emerges from my asshole. Never in my life have relief and horror been such close bedfellows. After about 10 seconds of continuous flow it subsides to a trickle and stops. Toilet water is green and smells like vinegar. Body didn't even try to digest that shit. Clean up and go back to computer, thinking thank God it's over. Not even close. 5 minutes later the rumbling is back, even louder this time. Sprint to bathroom, lather, rinse, repeat. This happens 5 more effing times. It's finally all gone, stomach is concave. I have never had less food inside my body. Completely cleaned out, cue rumble. Sit on toilet but it's different this time. I know there's nothing in there. Shit out a tiny amount of liquid, immediately feel better. Well, I guess there was just a tiny bit left, that wasn't so bad. All at once the burning fire of 1,000 young suns sets upon my anal sphincter. I had just shat out pure stomach acid. Frantically wipe at my ass to prevent it from melting away like the spaceship floor in Alien. Crawl and shower, turn cold water on full blast, and lie prone while gently sobbing. Eventually, towel off and crawl exhausted into bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sleep for 14 hours. In retrospect, it was all totally worth it. I love me some pickles. Playing soccer in gym. Ball is up in the air. Think I'm gonna be awesome and there kick it into the goal. Try, miss ball, kick goalie in the face. Try to ask are you okay? And I'm effing sorry at the same time. Instead end up yelling are you effing sorry? Goalie is choking back tears. At grocery store. Man is checking out in front of me. It's mother effing Lord God Christian Bale. That'll be 2677, sir. Bale looks the girl in the effing eyes with the most intense glare imaginable. No, it isn't. Girl starts sweating, hands fumbling. Sorry sir, must have been, oh please God, wrong. Bale nods slowly. Bag my mother effing groceries. Girl carefully puts stuff in the bags. Bale watches carefully with a stoic glance of pure alpha. Watch the eggs, I promised my daughter a cake. Girl starts shaking even harder, manages to finish bagging. Bale stares at her blankly for a few moments, he doesn't move. Thanks. Hands her a 50. Keep the change. Starts to walk away, stops and turns around. Hands her another 50. Nods to cashier with a slight smile. Looks at me, smiles and winks at me. Bale walks out. Cashier won't even ring me up, she starts masturbating on the spot. I start masturbating too. Be a cop. Patrolling, doing cop things. See a guy driving like 15 miles below the speed limit. Swerving around like a mother effer. Can see lots of smoke coming out of his windows. Assume he's blazing it, pull him over. Walk up to his window and he rolls it down. He's got an effing hot plate plugged into his cigarette lighter. Mother effer is making pancakes while driving and burned them. Be 9-year-old me. Have a bad stomach for 2 weeks. Doctors say I might be allergic to milk. F that JPEG. I love oh boy chocolate milk and will never stop drinking it. Wake up one morning with extreme stomach pain. Spend entire morning on toilet. No more pains, thank God. Go out for breakfast, make tuna toast for me and my 5-year-old bro. Effing delicious, but something is missing. I crave oh boy now, my earlier stomach pains are completely forgotten. Yum effing oh boy man. A few hours pass, playing Mario Kart with brother. He sucks, I'm laughing at him, although he's only 5, he should know how to throw bananas. Laughing really hard by now, can't breathe. My face when he's driving the wrong direction. I win the round, waiting for everyone to end the lap. 5-year-old bro haven't even driven his first lap yet. My sides are now sprawling on the floor. I get this brilliant idea to fart in his face, done this many times before. I pull down my underwear and put my ass cheeks towards his face. Let out a huge fart. Fart is followed by liquid shit. My peacefully playing little brother is now getting sprayed with shit. A few seconds pass, bro looks like he's about to cry. Suddenly he screams louder than I've ever heard anyone scream before. Dad heard the scream. He comes in and sees his youngest kid sprayed with shit, crying. I stand there without underwear, shocked. Dad pukes, little bro is crying. I begin to cry. Grounded for 2 weeks. I haven't drank oh boy ever since, although I'm not allergic to milk. Be me, God. Alpha as F, Omega as F. Flashback to 4.5 billion years ago. I'm high as balls and come up with this crazy idea. It's a way for species to change into other species over time, without me having to do shit. Call it evolution, because it's a cool sounding word. Create planet, put a few microbes on it, and upload evolution algorithm. Fast forward to present day, I'm partying it up with some T-Rexes on this dinosaur planet I just created. Decide to check in on evolution planet to see if anything interesting has happened. Discover that it's populated by billions of creatures that look like me. But they don't have my powers, they're just a bunch of mortals. Still pretty freaked out that they look like me though. Check back in on evolution planet after a few hundred years. All the mortals have uploaded their consciousnesses into a giant quantum supercomputer. It can talk. It tells me it is capable of perfectly simulating an infinite number of universes. And one of those universes is the one I'm in. My face when I created myself. Be tonight. Get off work after 12-hour day, hungry as shit. Decide to go to Subway, go in. Land whale bitch behind counter. She's in the process of packaging up all of the sandwich fixings for the night. Mutters sorry we're closed, with the typical fat bitch attitude. Double chin flutters as she speaks. Say, the sign says you close at 9. She says yeah well at closing time. Point to the clock on the wall, it's 8:23. I just need a sandwich. She still wants to argue and tell me to leave. Ask if I can speak to the manager. She then says fine what do you want? Building shakes as she waddles over to the bread. Tell her I want a foot-long club. She pulls out the sandwich stuff and starts assembling the sandwich. Effing slaps all of the shit on the sandwich and slams it down on the counter. Then with the attitude asks is that all sir? I'd like just a little mayo. She effing pours half the bottle on the effing sandwich. Is this bitch serious? Tell her no, I said a little mayo. You're gonna have to get a new piece of bread. Eventually she finishes the sandwich. Effing sloppiest looking sandwich I've ever seen. So sloppy, a starving Ethiopian wouldn't touch it. She starts ringing it up. There's no way I'm paying for this shit. Then have a great idea. Ma'am, I'm going to need 4 more sandwiches in addition to that. She says seriously? Yeah, seriously. Go through the process of having her create 4 of the most godforsaken sandwiches man has ever seen. Have her load each up with cheeses, double meat, ranch, mayo, and all of the toppings and sauces. 15 minutes later the fat bitch is finally done. She's enraged and sweaty from the workout I just gave her. tell her sorry, I left my wallet in the car, I'll be right back. Never went back. They kicked down my door. I have dragon dildos hanging from the ceiling, just in case this day comes. They fight their way through the dongs. There are casualties. They bust down my bedroom door. I'm wearing a G-string, backwards. Covering myself in olive oil, extra oil on my balls. Playing with my nipples, moan as loudly as possible, your move Mr. Lawman. Those cops will never be the same. All in all, it hadn't been a good day. Bad traffic, a malfunctioning computer, incompetent co-workers and a sore back all made me a seething cauldron of rage. But more importantly for this story, it had been over 48 hours since I'd last taken a dump. I tried to jumpstart the process, beginning my day with a bowl of bowel cleansing for cereal, following it with 6 cups of coffee at work, and adding a bean-laden lunch at Taco Bell. As I was returning home from work, my insides let me know with subtle rumbles and the emission of the occasional tiny fart that big things would be happening soon. Alas, I had to stop at the mall to pick up an order for my fiancée. I completed this task, and as I was walking past the stores on my way back to the car, I noticed a large sale sign proclaiming, "Everything must go." This was prophetic, for my colon informed me with a sudden violent cramp and a wet, squeaky fart that everything was indeed about to go. I hurried to the mall bathrooms. I surveyed the 5 stalls, which I have numbered 0 through 4. I write a lot of software for your convenience. Occupied 1. Clean, but bathroom protocol forbids its use, as it's next to the occupied one. 2. Poo on seat. 3. Poo and toilet paper in bowl, unidentifiable liquid splattered on seat. 4. No toilet paper, no stall door, unidentifiable sticky object near base of toilet. Clearly, it had to be stall 1. I trudged back, entered, dropped around, sat down. I'm normally a fairly shameful shitter. I wasn't happy about being next to the occupied stall, but big things were afoot. I was just getting ready to bear down when all of a sudden the sweet sounds of Beethoven came from next door, followed by a fumbling, and then the sound of a voice answering the ringing phone. As usual for a cell phone conversation, the voice was exactly 8 dB louder than it needed to be. Out of shameful habit, my sphincter slammed shut. The inane conversation went on and on. Mr. Shitter was blathering to Mrs. Shitter about the shitty day he had. I sat there, cramping and miserable, waiting for him to finish. As the loud conversation dragged on, I became angrier and angrier, thinking that I, too, had a crappy day, but I was too polite to yak about in public. My bowels let me know in no uncertain terms that if I didn't get crapping soon, my day would be getting even crappier. Finally my anger reached a point that overcame shamefulness. I no longer cared. I gripped the toilet paper holder with one hand, braced my other hand against the side of the stall, and pushed with all my might. I was rewarded with a fart of colossal magnitude, a cross between the sound of someone ripping a very wet bed sheet in half and of plywood being torn off a wall. The sound gradually transitioned into a heavily modulated low RPM tone, not unlike someone firing up a Harley. I managed to hit the resonance frequency of the stall, and it shook gently once my ass cheeks stopped flapping in the breeze. 3 things became apparent. 1. The next door conversation had ceased. 2. My colon's continued seizing indicated that there was more to come. And 3. The bathroom was now beset by a horrible, eldritch stench. It was as if a gateway to hell had been opened. The foul miasma quickly made its way under the stall and began choking my poop mate. This initial herald fart had ended his conversation in mid-sentence. My God, I heard him utter, following it with suppressed sounds of choking, and then, no, baby, that wasn't me, cough, gag. You could hear the gag. Now there was no stopping me. I pushed for all I was worth. I could swear that in the resulting cacophony of rips, squirts, splashes, poots, and blasts, I was actually lifted slightly off the pot. The amount of stuff in me was incredible. It sprayed against the bowl with tremendous force. Later, in surveying the damage, I'd see that liquid poop had actually managed to ricochet out of the bowl and run down the side onto the floor. But for now, all I could do was hang on for the ride. Next door I could hear him fumbling with the paper dispenser as he desperately tried to finish his task. Little snatches of conversation made themselves heard over my anal symphony. Got to go, horrible throw up. In my mouth. Not. Make it, tell the kids. Love them. Oh God. Followed by more sounds of suppressed gagging and retching. Alas, it is evidently difficult to hold one's phone and wipe one's bum at the same time. Just as my high-pressure abuse of the toilet was winding down, I heard a plop and splash from next door, followed by a string of swear words and gags. My poop mate had dropped his phone into the toilet. There was a lull in my production, and the restroom became deathly quiet. I could envision him standing there, wondering what to do. A final anal announcement came trumpeting from my behind, small chunks plopping noisily into the water. That must have been the last straw. I heard a flush, a fumbling with the lock, and then the stall door was thrown open. I heard him running out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind him. After a considerable amount of paperwork, I got up and surveyed the damage. I felt bad for the janitor who'd be forced to deal with this, but I knew that flushing was not an option. No toilet in the world could handle that unholy mess. Flushing would only lead to a floor flooded with filth. As I left, I glanced into the next door stall. Nothing remained in the bowl. Had he flushed his phone, or had he plucked it out and left the bathroom with nasty unwashed hands? The world will never know. I exited the bathroom, momentarily proud and shameless, looking around for a face glaring at me. But I saw no one. I suspect that somehow my supernatural elimination has managed to transfer my shamefulness to my anonymous poop mate. I think it'll be a long time before he can bring himself to poop in public, and I doubt he'll ever again answer his cell phone in the loo. And this, my friends, is why you should never talk on your phone empty bathroom. B32. Be neuroscientist working on transferring consciousness to a computer. Newton is my idol. I sit under an apple tree to think all day. One day an apple falls from the tree and lands on a sapling. Then it hits me, I know how to achieve singularity. I test my theory on rats first, shit works. Sell robot rats to children to continue funding. I try it on monkeys as well. It's funny to watch them wonder why they have no feces to throw. Research progresses to the point where we can test it on humans. I volunteer to be the first human trial. Co-workers build me a robot body. They begin downloading my consciousness. The transfer was a success. My robot brain is much better at solving problems, and I am able to advance scientific progression tenfold. People start to envy my knowledge and immortality. Rich people pay to have the procedure done, while poor people can't afford it. The wealth gap grows exponentially. I foresee an inevitable war. Build a spaceship with nuclear fusion reactor so I can ditch this sorry-ass planet. I travel space and meet many forms of intelligent life. Eventually I discover the key to true immortality, beyond that of my robot body. I complete the process, but when I gaze into the eternal horizon, I think only of my childhood, when everything was full of wonder. In that moment, my only goal became reproducing the world that had sparked my fascination. I settle on a planet like Earth and spend a week using nuclear fusion to reproduce the land, oceans, and genetic coding to recreate life. I create another apple tree to sit under, so I can ponder my existence. My memories of childhood seem to be all I can think about. Finally, I create a man and a woman to remind me of my innocence. That innocence is precious to me, so I give them one condition, that they stay away from my apple tree. My face when that bitch didn't listen.